Former President Bill Clinton dropped in on The View today, and he was put in the hot seat over Joe Biden. He delivered a much-needed reminder about the Constitution, and he issued a DEFCON 1 dire warning about Donald Trump that you don't want to miss, and I have the complete breakdown for you next. First up is the hot seat moment when one of the hosts grilled him about joining the chorus and supporting an 80-year-old Joe Biden, and always the diplomat and wordsmith. He delivered a very Bill Clinton-like answer with some conjecture and redirection.
Mr. President, I want to ask you, last time you were here, you were actually fiercely a defender of President Biden's when people were questioning whether he should stay in the race, and when he decided to step aside, you praised his decision to do so. There have now been a lot of reports, books written with Democratic sources talking about what appeared to be decline while he was in the White House. Do you give any credence to those reports, or do you stand by your assessment of the former president?
Well, I think you have to pay attention to them, but all I can say is whenever I was around him, his mind was clear, his judgment was good, and he was on top of his brief.
That's right.
But look at that debate, for example. Mm-hmm. What happened in the 10 days before his debate, and what were the White House staff thinking? He went to Europe and back twice, and then he went to California once.
Yeah.
And he was 80 years old. What the heck is he doing that for?
And sick.
Yeah.
And
So
sick.
why was that allowed to happen? So there's a lot of questions I don't know. All I know is I think we should think less about that and more about the future.
Yeah.
We now know President...
That's right.
We know President Reagan had clear signs of Alzheimer's in his last 2 years. We know Woodrow Wilson, after his stroke, couldn't make any decisions, and his wife made them. Now, some people think that's best of both worlds. Get the white guy standing up there. Somebody else making the calls. But I mean, we're laughing about this, but it's, in my view, we should spend more time thinking about the future.
Next, he delivered the lesson on the Constitution that I promised, and then he sounded the alarm on Donald Trump.
Yeah. The whole purpose of the Constitution was to repeal royal governance, unaccountable governance, that no Democrat or Republican can be without accountability.
Yes.
That's what I think. So we'll see what happens, but I'm pretty upbeat about it.
And now for Bill Clinton's dire warning about Donald Trump, and I find this clip extra fascinating because Sonny Hostin uses the phrase illegally disappearing people to describe the rule of law under Trump, a phrase that is as striking as it is accurate.
Mr. President, I agree with you. We need to talk about the future. And beyond President Trump's big, beautiful bill, he is working to dismantle, in my view, our foundational institutions, right? He's intimidating law firms and universities. He's stifling media. He's illegally disappearing people and deporting people. And he's now threatening to impeach judges. So are you confident that the courts will hold? And what concerns you most about what he's doing now?
That the courts won't hold until we have the midterm elections.
Yeah.
But because the Supreme Court's made some good decisions, which so far have been ignored, like when they sent that Salvadoran man, who his own State Department said was entitled to be here and have a full hearing, and they shouldn't send him away. They sent him away, then manufactured a picture that made it look like he had MS-13 on his hands, which he didn't. And the guy's still there in jail. And so I'm worried about that. And you should be worried about that, whatever your politics. Because, you know, and although I have a sneaking suspicion if our party wins the White House in the next election, there'll be a hallelujah moment. And the Supreme Court will rediscover the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the limits on it. And let me tell you, I'll be happy if that happens, because all of us should operate under guardrails.
Bill Clinton's constitutional gut check reminded us why his voice is still relevant. He laid out why the presidency should not be a tool for Trump's vengeance or unchecked power, and the message wasn't red or blue. It's for all Americans. That's because when presidential power becomes personal instead of public, democracy unravels. But the most chilling part of the segment was his warning about Donald Trump's abuse of power between now and midterms. He sounded the alarm on how fragile our democratic institutions have become in the Trump era, and his concern wasn't just about Trump's behavior, but about the system's ability to contain him. It is frightening that a former president is cautioning us that the Supreme Court may not have the strength or the will to stop Trump from trampling the Constitution. His message was urgent. The safeguards we thought we could rely on might not hold. We have seen that the courts are slow and lack teeth, and that Trump is relentless and on a mission. And there was one thing that he didn't say that I think is worth pointing out. If Democrats are waiting until the next election to fight back, it might be too late.